Welcome back to another episode. Today's topic is reserves. Now, I told you a day or two ago I played my kids in the game Monopoly, and I didn't fare too well. They took me out. I went bankrupt, and the reason I went bankrupt is because I did not have enough reserves. Now, if you're thinking about a definition for reserves, what are they? Reserves is that rainy day fund. It's in case of emergency, break glass. Reserves will keep you afloat when times are tough. And in the game Monopoly, I did not have enough reserves put aside, which is why I lost and went bankrupt. And so during these times, it's incredibly important that you have reserves. Incredibly important. And here's why. So when you have a tough situation or a pandemic like we're in today, it's all about how long you can last. And I mean, there's definitely no rhyme or reason for like what will bring that about, but you need to be ready. You need to be prepared. So reserves are about survival. It's not about escape. I talk about escape. Escape are usually those small situations where, you need between a rock and a hard place. You need to think your way out of a tough situation. But reserves are a little bit more longer term. So you might be thinking a couple weeks or a couple months. I know some folks have been laid off during these tough times, and they're thinking about survival. They're thinking about how I pay the bills, how I make it another day. And so to give them, something to think about, I'll share my own story. So my own story is I had to deal with some challenges years ago in 2016, and I had to deal with getting laid off. And first thing I thought was the same thing a lot of folks thought. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? But somehow between then and between now, I'm still here. My family's still getting everything that they actually need. And I thank God for just the opportunities that I got to actually make that happen. So, in regards to reserves, a lot of folks talk about maybe making it in a week, making it in a month. I've been going on 4 years. 4 years. I had my liberation day on July, I think it was the last Friday, July 27th, we'll say, 2016. So I've been on reserves the last 4 years. Now, how is that even possible? Well, let me tell you. So the big thing about reserves are that they don't work by themselves. Just having money set aside is not enough. You need to know how finance works. You need to have a high degree of financial intelligence. And so when you consider reserves, when do you actually need them? When do you break that glass? The very first thing is you have a source of income, right? So with that source of income, when things start slowing down or that source of income disappears, the next question is, do you have a backup source of income? Now, the backup source of income is super important because if you just have a primary source of income and that's it, and that primary source disappears, automatic sources of income, all of a sudden, you still have income coming in. You can still pay those bills. It's not that big of a deal. And so having multiple sources of income is incredibly important so you don't even have to touch your reserves, right? So that's the first thing I think about. But the second thing is once you actually get to reserves, what do you do? How long will it last? And what you have there is really a question of where is your wealth and where is your financial intelligence? Because once you're on reserves, what you have is a foundation of hopes and prayers. And that's not a place you want to be. And when I played Monopoly, that's exactly the place I was, where those reserves ran out, and then that was it. But I've learned that there are two aspects, right? That's not really the only element when you think about reserves. What wealth essentially is it tells you how long you will last when time gets tough. It's a measure of that. So for anyone who's taking the wealth test at knivesoutwealth.com, there's a question that asks you, how long will your reserves actually last you? And generally, you want to have at least about 6 or 8 months where if there was no income coming in, you would still be there. You'd still be fine. But by itself, that's not a measure of reserves and how much wealth you actually have. The other piece of it that you may not hear about too much is financial literacy. And what financial literacy essentially indicates is it lets you know how much you will need to survive when times get tough. So you have two pieces. You have wealth, which tells you how long you will last, and financial intelligence, which tells you how much you will need. Now, this goes back to when we talked about making it rain in finances. How much do you actually need to survive? There's a number there. And then the other piece is, in addition to how much you will need, how long do you need to last? So take expenses and take how long you need to last. You put those two together, and then you get reserves. And reserves live at the intersection of wealth and financial intelligence. So if you have a lot of wealth and let's say low financial intelligence, you may have a lot of money, but it may not last you very long. But if you have a little bit of wealth, a lot of financial intelligence, you don't need a lot of money to survive. And so if you want to learn some more about financial intelligence, what you actually know up here, it can help you last a little bit longer, come visit us at knivesoutwealth.com, where we share some information as far as what we've done to put ourselves in a position for success and what you can do to do the same. And if anything, if you need a prayer, I'm here to pray for you just the same, but I'd much rather give you the information that you need to be successful. And so if you want to learn more about my story and ways that I can help you, give me a shout. Love to hear your feedback. All right, till the next episode. Bye.